I still do go through and look at different companies, different bottles, and see what they offer and what they're doing, and the price points they're at. And I am still convinced that the choice I made with EVOLV H2Go was the right one and still is the right one.
So Colonel Tommy, thank you so much for joining me. Can you just give us a little bit of your background, like your official title, position, how you'd like us to, introduce you?
I'm Colonel Tom Gilmore, or Tommy Gilmore, and I retired out of the Air Force, United States Air Force, several years ago. And but now currently we're ranching in South Texas. We raise Hereford cattle here, and so that's pretty much what we're doing at this point in time.
Awesome. That's amazing. So can you tell me a little bit about like your career in the Air Force? Anything you want to add? Any accolades, favorite stories? Anything to just give us a little bit more about your background? And I know you have a beautiful ranch out in Texas. You want to share a little bit how you got into ranching?
Well, as far as the Air Force career, I started out in nuclear operations, and I spent about 5.5 years there, and then switched over to acquisition and logistics. I commanded twice. I was responsible for about 12,000 people and throughout my career. I worked directly for the Secretary of Defense. I was an investigator for the DOD IG. One time I worked at the Pentagon on air staff. I was in several different countries, Panama, and I got the opportunity to go to Germany, France, Belgium, and Austria, and just had a great career. Met a lot of good people, and retired after a little over 26 years.
Oh my God, that is incredible. Thank you, first of all, so much for your service. And, that also explains in a lot of our previous conversations, we had a lot of dialogue before you really felt confident choosing EVOLV. So your background really explains how you were able to vet us so thoroughly and, go through all of the checks and balances before you were willing to even, get on this call with me and put your name out there with our brand. So that's amazing. Can you tell me a little bit about how you first heard about hydrogen water, like what piqued your interest, and maybe what you saw in it as something that you might want to try?
Well, I was having some health issues, and I knew I had to make some life changes. And so about 6 months ago, I started doing a lot of research. I changed my eating habits. I changed the foods that I was eating. I switched some supplements to go to a methylated supplement. I looked at some of the other things, such as exercise, and then I ran across some articles on hydrogen water. And I'll be honest with you, when I first saw this, I was pretty skeptical. And so I said, I'm gonna have to do a lot more research in this. And so after looking at lots of different articles that was out there, I decided that there is something to this hydrogen water. And so that was the easy part, is getting the information and research on the hydrogen water, or hydrogen rich water, is a lot of literature will call it, or diatomic hydrogen. The hard part was going and researching companies and products to deliver that hydrogen water. And there was companies out there that you had to question some of the motives behind them being in the marketplace. When you looked at their websites was very vague. They didn't put a lot of data out there on their websites. When you called, you might or might not get the information you wanted. I was impressed with EVOLV because they put lots of data on their website, and they were willing to engage on social media sites to answer people's questions. And I thought that was extremely important, because whether the people went with your product or went with somebody else's product or decided this wasn't for them, at least you were giving them the information to make that determination. And I thought that was extremely good on EVOLV's part to engage in that avenue of information. I was impressed with your product's ppm, parts per million concentration of hydrogen. It was one of the better on the market. I really liked the size of the bottle, because I read some research that showed that anything over 8 ounces, the average person had a difficult time drinking that at one stint. And with hydrogen, you have to get it, once you open that top of that hydrogen generating bottle, you have to drink it fairly quickly, or since it's the lightest element in the periodic table, you're going to end up not getting the concentration you think you're getting because you left it out in the open too long. So I liked the bottle. I liked that it was only 7.5 inches by 2.5 inches. It's easy to carry, easy to charge. I like you could charge it through a wall outlet, computer, or even in your car. And like I mentioned, I carry mine with me everywhere. When I travel, when I'm going to the stores or wherever, one of my bottles is going with me. And so I like that. I like the construction, the 3-piece construction of the unit. I like the base, which is, the electrolysis chamber, what I call the electrolysis chamber, is in the bottom portion of the bottle. The bottle screws into that, and the electrolysis chamber, you can click once for 5 minutes, twice for 10 minutes, and they will produce the 5.42 parts per million concentration of hydrogen with the two-touch button. I also really like the magnetic charging port. There's a lot of bottles out there that's using USB-C ports, and some of the better bottles will give you a caution that if you get that wet, you need to thoroughly dry that charging port, or you can actually damage some of the electronics in there. And so with this magnetic charging port, there's really nothing internal that you're plugging into. And so it's easier to wipe off any excess water, and you can tell if there's excess water on the charging port. So I thought that was a very good design that EVOLV went to with that magnetic charging port.
Thank you.
And I like that they're using the SPE and PEM filters, and that's the way they're getting their hydrogen, as opposed to, I think it's called a bubble generator.
Yeah.
And that way you also get the higher pressures, which is a reason you're using a polycarbonate bottle as opposed to a glass bottle, because glass will not hold up to those kind of pressures. I know a lot of people said, well, why didn't they use, or can they use a boron silicon glass like they use in the chemistry labs? Well, the problem with those is that they can withstand high temperatures, but they cannot stand high pressures, and it will break. And also, it's been known the boron within the silicon for the glass can be toxic and very difficult to dispose of. So it was a move, I think, on the EVOLV's part to make sure that the safety was paramount in this, and they went to the BPA-free food grade polycarbonate bottle from Bayer in Germany. I really liked, like I mentioned before, the truth and the honesty that is coming out of EVOLV. I like the fact that y'all are providing the 45-day guarantee, money back guarantee. You get it, you try it, and if you don't feel anything, if you don't see any results, then you have 45 days to contact customer service and say, I don't think this is for me. And then you also offer a 13-month warranty with the product. So I think that that was says a lot about your confidence within the product that you're selling. So,
absolutely. Yeah, we wanted to, you know, when the founders set out to create this product, you know, we saw a lot of the same things that you did here at EVOLV and wanted to make something that checked every single box, and not just, you know, some of them over here, some of them over here, that you had a complete picture of a product that, you know, you could 100% stand behind and say, yes, it's certified. Yes, we use the safest materials possible. Yes, we can infuse, you know, 5.4 parts per million hydrogen. So you're getting that concentrated serving of hydrogen every time you drink the bottle. And, you know, I'm so glad with all of the thorough research you've done, which has blown everybody on our team away, the amount of thought and energy and, you know, dedication to making sure that you're really choosing the right product for you. And I'm so glad that everything we're doing, you know, that you can see that even after vetting us as, you know, in a way that you would expect from a colonel. We've definitely had to drop and give you 20 over here. And I am, you know, just flattered and really have a lot of respect for the research that you've done, you know, to choose us and feel confident in choosing EVOLV.
if you've got time, I'd like to give you a little story that that I thought was really kind of neat. In that I went to took a trip to Louisiana, and I thought I had a problem with my hydrogen bottle, and because I got to the hotel and it started leaking, and so I got on the customer service, a chat room, and I started chatting with one of the EVOLV employees, and I'm saying, I think I've got a problem. And the individual was extremely knowledgeable, and he came back and said, try this, try this, try this. And come to find out what it was all my fault. Is that when I was traveling, I accidentally loosened the bottle from the base, and it started leaking. Well, once I tightened it up, everything was fine. Well, I got the opportunity to talk to one of the founders, and come to find out, the person I was chatting online was one of the founders. And so we got to talking. My first master's degree I have is in management supervision with a concentration in logistics. And I told him, I said, you know, I never, or I should say rarely ever see a founder, CEO of a company or owner of a company that's willing to sit in a chat room to take issues or questions from customers. And his response really drove home the dedication he has, because his response was that I want to see what the customers are saying. I want to see if any issues they're having. I want to see what they think about the product and how we can improve the product. And that's dedication you really don't see a lot from the standpoint from a founder or CEO or an owner. And then he made one other statement that struck home with me. He said, I will never sell a product that I'm not willing to try myself or let my family have and try. And the character and the dedication that the individual had spoke volumes. And so I was very impressed with the founders and also with the customers, or excuse me, the customer service. I will tell you that I've contacted customer service several times, not necessarily with just problems or anything like that, but just to talk. And it usually if I don't get an immediate response, it's within 2 to 4 hours, I get a response back. And so a lot of even young companies just, one, don't have the resources, or two, it doesn't have the dedication to provide that kind of and that level of customer support. And so I was extremely impressed with the customer support at EVOLV. So
I am so glad to hear that. Yeah, we do really take a lot of pride in making sure everybody is taken care of. And, we want you to choose Evolve. We hope you can see we have, the best product out there on the market for, in terms of a hydrogen water bottle. And, if it's not us, we still hope to earn your business again in the future. So we do have human customer care. It's pretty much around the clock. If you have an issue, reach out to our team, and, we're here to make it right.
well, some of the things that I noticed in my experience with using the EVOLV H2Go bottle is that I got it, and 3 days after I got it, I went out and mowed our yard. Our yard is fairly large. It usually takes me between 7 and 10 hours to go through and mow and wheat string edge the yard. And every time I would get through that evening, my hands would hurt, and it would hurt the next day. Well, after 3 days of using the hydrogen bottle, my hands didn't hurt. I went out and I worked 10 hours in the yard, and I told my wife, I said, my hands don't hurt. I don't understand this. And I'm sure it was due to the vibration that and inflammation from the mower and the string trimmer. But like I said, that impressed me. And while I was in the military, before I retired, the military docs wanted to cut on my back. And don't get me wrong, military docs, they are some of the best in the world. I'm not saying anything bad about the docs, but I didn't want the surgery. And I told them that as long as I could walk, I did not want to have the back surgery. And so I went ahead and retired. And one thing I have noticed since I've been on hydrogen water, I have not had to use ibuprofen or Tylenol. I have not had to use heating pads or ice packs. Now, don't get me wrong. I know my back is still messed up, but it's tolerable at this point in time. So I can see a difference in that. Every morning, I get up and I walk for an hour and a half to 2 hours at sunrise, and I notice that my recovery time and my heart rate, everything has been getting better. I don't have the lactic acid build up in my muscles and my legs like I have had in the past. And so that is a big plus. We also, about a month after I started on the hydrogen water bottle, we took a trip. It's about a 600 mile, 12-hour trip. And I noticed when we got there, I told my wife, I said, I don't know if this is an anomaly, but I didn't get drowsy. I was more alert than I normally am. And so I don't know if I just got better sleep or what. Well, about a week later, we drove a trip back home, and the same thing happened. So I can see a difference in the amount of alertness, the less drowsiness. So that was, in my mind, a big plus. I can also tell a difference in the energy levels I have. I'm currently trying to clear out prickly pear cactus and mesquite out of our pastures. And so I start, and we go out by hand with the tractor, and we start cutting it all out. And so I can see more energy from my day-to-day activities. Now, I have recommended this bottle to several people, and one lady texted me back and said, Tom, you're not going to believe this. And she had very, very bad back issues. Mm-hmm. She said, I've been able to cut down on my pain medication since I've been taking the hydrogen water. And another individual who bought a bottle said, I own this business and I am dead beat tired when I go home. He said, the other day, he said, I caught myself outside watering the yard. He said, I never do that. So, so, the other people that have, that I've recommended the bottles to, that's tried that, have all had good things. And as far as I know, nobody has returned the bottle that I recommended the bottle to. So that's a big plus.
That's amazing. I love to hear that. Every day I get to hear a new story about how it's made somebody's day better. And that's huge for us. These stories get passed around in our team channel, in our internal communications. And it just brings a smile to everybody's face that we're out there doing something that can actually, help somebody live a better life.
I will tell you, I have not felt this good since probably my late 30s, early 40s. And so, and be honest with you, next year I'll be looking at my 60s in the rearview mirror. So this is a big plus for me. I've always told my doc, I said, when I told him what I wanted to do, my goal for weight loss, and I've lost about 40 pounds in about 5 months now, and gone from a 40 plus pant size to a 36.
Oh, wow.
And so I told my doc, I said, my goal is not to live any longer than what the good Lord wants me to, but I want to be running and gunning the day I go. And so yeah. he started laughing. He said, that's a good way to look at it. So, but that's my philosophy anyway.
Awesome. I love that so much. That's amazing.
One thing I want to make sure everybody knows is that I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a physiologist. I'm not a human biologist. I am not representing DOD or any of the armed services, and I'm not an employee of EVOLV. So what I am telling you is experiences I've had and things that I have seen. So
Absolutely. And we always recommend that everybody checks in with their medical care provider team. We don't intend to treat, diagnose, cure, any of that good stuff. Always check with your medical care providers. We put a little disclaimer on our, on our videos and all of our marketing materials. Because yeah, we're not doctors either, but, we do like to share our own experiences and, share some of the insightful research into what hydrogen, can and may help.
That's right.
So let me ask you another question. Okay. How do you fit hydrogen water into your daily routine? Because I know you've got a lot on your plate with the cattle ranch and, other things going on, family life. What's your hydrogen water routine?
Okay, I'm currently drinking between 6 and 10 a day, bottles a day. As soon as I get up, I'll reach over and hit the bottle because I keep it on a nightstand and get it going. And then I go out and walk an hour and a half to 2 hours. And this is usually somewhere between 5:30 and 6 o'clock in the morning. And then when I come in, I'll do another bottle after the exercise. And then throughout the day, I will take anywhere from 5 to 7. And then before I go to bed, I'll take another bottle before going to bed. And so I'm typically getting anywhere from 6 to 10 bottles a day. I know that's more than the quote unquote, not recommended, but to see healthy benefit, they're recommended about 3 bottles a day to see wellness. And if you're doing heavy recovery from athletic exercise, maybe 6. But I do a lot of work around here. I've had some heat strokes, so I like to hydrate. Most people in the United States actually are dehydrated as opposed to hydrated. And so I drink a lot and I monitor my electrolytes throughout the day. So that's basically how I do my consumption of hydrogen water. When I'm on the road, I will try to take a bottle every 2 hours while I'm on there. I know there's some research that says you want to pulse the intake of hydrogen, but the research I've seen is that once you drink hydrogen, it will stay in your body about an hour, but the benefits from that will last much longer. So what I'm looking at is, even if my consumption of 10 a day, I'm still getting 2 to 3 hours between bottles, so I'm pulsing that intake.
Awesome. That's a really cool perspective too. I drink it all throughout the day. I'm usually around 4 a day. If I'm, feeling under the weather, it's been a tougher day, I do tend to drink a little bit more just to get that extra amount of hydrogen into my system. And, I felt like I was coming down with a cold a couple weeks ago, and I was just drinking the hydrogen water all day. And the next day I expected to wake up, feeling like crap, and I didn't. And I was like, oh my goodness. You know, thank goodness I can drink hydrogen water all day, because that really helped me out. I had to go to work. So one last question for you. Is there anything you would say to somebody who's maybe, just starting out their hydrogen water research, or, out there comparing bottles, or, anything else you would want maybe our audience to know?
There's lots of research out there. And I would say if you're just starting your wellness journey and looking at hydrogen for your wellness journey, and you're researching this, pay attention when you're looking at the research, what avenue of ingestion they're taking the hydrogen. Sometimes some of the research will say they used inhalation, such as a nose cannula, to get the hydrogen. Some will use hydrogen-rich water, or diatomic hydrogen ingested. You will see some of the research that's indicating that they're using not a portable hydrogen generating water bottle, but actually pills to put into water to generate the hydrogen to drink. And so for the skin health, there's some research out there that shows that they are using bath water and generating hydrogen in bath water for that. There's some ocular research out there which shows that they're using hydrogen in eye drops to put into the eyes for issues. So when you're looking at the research, also look at the mode in which the researchers are looking at bringing that hydrogen into the body. Also, there are lots of different websites out there that will list the research, and so that right there is the easy part as far as researching the benefits of molecular hydrogen or diatomic hydrogen. The harder part is going to be researching companies. My feeling is that if a company is unwilling to put their facts on their webpage, that throws kind of a red flag up to me. If you see lots of errors or mistakes in the web pages, you see the web pages in different sections contradicting themselves, I would count that as a red flag. I'll be honest with you, I'm cautious about when a company starts using celebrities to advertise their product, because they're paying those celebrities to do that. And so that does not carry near the weight with me as if they had gotten somebody such as a researcher or a scientist, or somebody of that nature, as opposed to somebody from Hollywood to come in and talk about the products. Now, there's some athletes that I think would be perfectly fine from the standpoint that if they're using the product and they're seeing it's helping them, that's a different situation than a celebrity being paid to promote a product. And so I would to me, that throws a red flag up too. If you can't get a hold of a company and they won't return your phone calls, that's a red flag. And there's quite a few companies that are like that. They're there before the sale, but after the sale, you're forgotten about. And I'll be honest with you, I've not seen that with EVOLV at all. So those are some things that I would, if you can possibly talk to an owner or CEO of a company and just sit and chat with them, that's a plus, but that can be very difficult to do. Now you can find filings of where the company was started and who started it. And with some phone numbers, if you dig hard enough and deep enough, and that person may or may not be willing to talk to you. If they're not, I don't take that too much as a red flag from the standpoint, usually CEOs, founders are extremely busy running a company. And to try to take time out to talk to everybody that calls is tough. Yeah. But if that person will take your call, then that is a big plus. So that would just be some of the things I would say look out for. If a company is unwilling to give you a decent warranty with their product, if they use a third-party warranty system out there, and then you research it and find out it's a deteriorating warranty to where they say they may have a 10-20-year warranty or a 5-10-year warranty, but after the first year there's nothing there and they won't give you anything back, that's not really a warranty. It's a red flag in my mind. So those would be some things I would say look out for and to look at if you're going to doing some research.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that I'm sure will help so many people out there in terms of what to look for. I have people ask me all the time, how do I know? How do I know? There's so many bottles out there. I'm comparing you to, these other brands. How do I know? And that is a fantastic list of, just checks and balances to make sure you're getting a solid product. Colonel Tommy, thank you so much for your time. I'm sure your insight is going to help so many people. And from all of us at EVOLV, we really appreciate, you being here and choosing EVOLV and taking the time to share your feedback with everybody out there.
It was my pleasure. And I hope this helped some people and on their wellness and health journey. And the decisions of whether this is a product, a technology that they want to try. I will tell you that from my standpoint, from what I've seen, the research I have done, the EVOLV is the best bang for the buck that I've seen out there. And I still do go through and look at different companies, different bottles, and see what they offer and what they're doing and the price points they're at. And I am still convinced that the choice I made with EVOLV H2Go was the right one and still is the right one to get my hydrogen requirements in.